Okay, good. I want to call the meeting to order, the regular meeting of the Village of Corrales governing body. Please turn your phones off or set them to vibrate so you don't disturb or conflict with any discussions going on. And once you've done that, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
Counselor Miera.
Here.
Counselor Woolman.
Here.
Counselor Knight.
Here.
Counselor Alsobrook.
Here.
Counselor Burkett. Okay, Counselor Murray. I don't see Counselor Burkett.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I got him.
Colorado.
Okay. But Zach said he'd call in?
He did say he'd be online, so.
Okay. All right, so I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. We have one change. There was a spelling error. Person's name, Garth Dowling, not Downing. Now, if his presentation is poor, we're going to just call him Garth Downing. Melanie, I believe that's the only thing, correct?
I believe so.
All right. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. All right. The agenda is approved. First is approval of appointments. Jody Harrington for Planning and Zoning. Ms. Harrington's here for the Tree Committee, and she decided she didn't have enough. She had more extra time.
That's the next time.
That's the next time?
Yeah.
Hickox.
Yeah.
Miss Hickox. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Wrong, wrong person.
Jody had thought about running for council and then decided to
Oh.
volunteer for P and Z.
Plan and zoning will be a good education. Do I have a motion to approve Jody Harrington?
So moved.
In a second?
Is she
Okay.
present?
Jody Harrington is present. Please.
I'll second.
Mayor, if I may, while she's coming to the podium, would it be possible for us to know in advance as to what member of a commission or a committee is leaving and for what reason in advance before?
We don't always know why they're leaving.
Yeah.
The last
No, no.
resignation letter I got just said I'm leaving.
Okay, so what position is being opened then?
For planning and zoning, it was Heather Ballas's
Oh, really?
position. Yes.
Now, there will be another one opening.
She did serve her term and then she was up for reappointment and chose not to seek reappointment.
Okay, great.
What about Mark's term? Is we already filled his space?
No, Mark was, I had the wrong date on my spreadsheet, so he's still another year. So
Oh, okay.
this,
But if he sells his house, he may leave.
if he leaves, yes, then
Okay.
we would have another
So
spot.
if we have enough notice, sure, we can do that.
That'd be great. We don't have to know necessarily why, but what position they're replacing.
Oh,
what-
okay.
What person they're replacing.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Your
because
patience.
occasionally I understand you guys know somebody who's interested, and I think that's fine, because we have a hard time sometimes finding people. And fortunately, Ms. Harrington was interested, and here she is. Do you have any questions for her? Yes, sir.
Just a brief question. Quick summary, what makes you interested in planning and zoning?
Honestly, on the recommendation of Miss Knight, as a way to get to learn more about the village. I've lived in the village over 20 years now, been raising kids, and that has pretty much been my world, has been in raising kids and keeping my head above water. And I felt this was an important time to start reaching out a little bit and giving back to the community that's done a lot for myself. So looking forward to learning more.
That sounds good. I'll warn you, it's a slippery slope. I started as a planning and zoning commissioner, a different state 30 years ago. And
It's still with you today.
once you get involved, it's hard to get uninvolved,
I'll take note. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to say good luck on the board. I was on some other boards in my 40 years here in Corrales, but P and Z, I felt as though I was the layperson because there was a bunch of engineers and lawyers that were on the commission with me, but I would find things that they didn't look for because again, I wasn't looking for specific things that they would look for, but I feel like it's good to always have, lay people on there that have a totally different viewpoint. So I'm glad you're going to be on it, or
Well,
hopefully be on it.
Thank you. Hopefully my experience as a healthcare provider helps add a little more depth and color to the committee board that I'm about to join.
Well, every day will be a learning experience. So it'll be good.
Oh, isn't that true for all of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be good. Okay.
Mayor,
Thank you.
this is Councilor Murray.
Yes, sir.
So I just want to ask her,
But-
I would say, I would reinforce,
Sure.
whoops,
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
I just want to ask her a question or two.
Okay.
So, and maybe it's just more of a statement, like Councilor Knight had commented that once you're on P and Z, it is a learning experience, and I would urge you to read the comprehensive plan in depth, and then go look at chapter 18 in depth, because you need to reconcile both of those documents and make sure that developers are not taking advantage of us at any time. So, thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Ms. Harrington. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bye.
And so now, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Very good. All right. So Ms. Harrington, you're now at planning and zoning, and I'm not sure. Laurie, when's the next meeting?
Next Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. Throw you right in the water.
And also, Mayor, I was corrected. Mark Ottenbright did leave. He was replaced by Michael Roque, who the council appointed a couple of
okay,
meetings back.
Okay, I thought he had.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we'll move on to presentations, and we have an illustrious group of presenters from the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission, Stevie Kunzler and Garth Dowling, who are going to tell us all about their committee or commission, excuse me.
I guess a question. Oh,
And just let me know when you're ready for me to bring the presentation up, and I will advance through the slides for you.
okay. Great for me.
We have
Ready?
to carry or anything? or-
Nope, introduce yourselves and then let me know when you're ready for me to bring up the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor and
Absolutely.
councilors. Appreciate it, letting us talk a little bit. I'm Stevie Kunzler, resident of Dallas now for close to 23 years with my family.
Could you?
Get a little
Great.
closer to the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Good. Thank you.
And Garth is on the commission with us. We've been residents for 23 years. We're active walkers and cyclists. We're members of the Corrales Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. And in our commission, we're focused on the needs of pedestrians and cyclists in the village, with an emphasis on accessibility and safety. We love walking and cycling in our village, and we strive to improve on what we have. Our current focus of our commission is on a section of Corrales Road, also known as New Mexico 448, between the crosswalk in front of the Cottonwood Montessori School on the west side of Corrales Road, heading north to Jones Road, which provides access to the rec center. In 2014, New Mexico DOT funded and implemented a crosswalk enhancement project in this section of roadway. We find that this section of path enhancement lacks regular maintenance and upkeep, as well as the lack of effective use of striping to make this section of pathway safer for pedestrians. We suggest that a request be made to New Mexico DOT to implement necessary changes in this regard. Also, perhaps having Corrales Public Works paint crosswalk striping and pedestrian images on Coronado Road in alignment with the crosswalk enhancement path. So now we're going to show some images of the area that we're talking about and what proposals they would be.
We can go ahead. There we go. So here's an example of some of the striping that we're looking at. But the section we're talking about is only 1/10 of a mile, and apparently was established by New Mexico Department of Transportation and pretty much forgotten about. Consequently, it is now full of sand, gravel, and trash. And often, and we've got pictures showing tire tracks, it's kind of become a de facto breakdown lane or passing lane. So this is part of the section that we're looking at. Actually, that's one of the better kept ones. I must get a lot of wind there.
gusts from the west.
But as I said, it's about it's a tenth of a mile or 240 steps or 500 steps if you're a third grader. So this is a crossing at Montessori School. So this would be where it does start. And you can see how right at the where the Montessori crosswalk is, it begins to widen out and it does continue all the way to Jones Road. I am very new to Krause. I've only been here for 4 years and I was like every other newcomer. I had no idea there's a pathway there. It had to be pointed out to me. But New Mexico Department of Transportation did establish this more than 10 years ago. And seems to have dropped the ball and we're advocating picking the ball up.
And we live quite nearby on Priestley Corval, and we have seen groups of kids heading north on that side of the shoulder. So it's definitely an area that we'd like to have some attention put on, maybe on a regular maintenance schedule.
So as you can see, the tire tracks going across the sand here. And it's also, you know, since it is not maintained, nor is it really indicated as a no drive zone, it's kind of an eyesore. It's, you know, it's neither here nor there. We'll go to the next slide, please. It gets really bad around where the teas and chocolate places are.
So underneath that, the pathway continues and stops right at the Montessori crossing. Is a good example of how sweeping would really help that zone. So here's an example on Rio Grande Boulevard. So motorists can see the definition between motorist traffic and people on bicycles or walking. Makes it a little bit more clear. So we're kind of proposing something like that in that area on Corrales Road. And also, also Coronado comes in from the west there. So defining that zone, the entry of Coronado, defining that as a pedestrian zone as well.
I mean, if you're going to have a pathway crossing across it, you need to indicate that there very well may be pedestrians present. And a driver going on Coronado, unless they're familiar with the area, has no indication of the possibility of pedestrian traffic, which obviously is quite dangerous.
There's no signage there.
There's no signage there. Now, this is interesting. So this is right at Jones Road. And one of the things we're also proposing is if we're indicating the pathway that comes right up to Jones Road, and it would probably fall in the purvey of the village rather than MDOT. But I'm sorry, I'm from Wyoming. We're used to calling Wyoming Department of YDOT. So I'm just going
You
with
can call them anything you want to.
We're actually thinking that it would be terrific if the striping actually makes that corner on Jones Road. There again, to hopefully prevent traffic from cutting that corner short, because you know somebody coming down that pathway, turning onto Jones Road could have an impact on a car. What I wanted to point out here is that yellow rubber bumper there. It's the same thing as at the crosswalk for the Montessori school, right at the crosswalk. Well, you got these bumpers right there, right where the farmer's market is. So I'm wondering if the Department of Transportation was thinking there would be a crosswalk there, because there's no, I mean, there's no reason for those being there otherwise. It almost looks like you're waiting for on a subway platform.
Mystery crosswalk.
So at the very least, we're advocating, investigating or talking to the Department of Transportation, see about maintenance, because that seems like that would fall under their purview. But I think we'd think it would be a good idea to have it striping, have it be used for what it's intended as, well, kids, but also adults are using that. And why not make it safer? Seems like the monetary outlay would be pretty minimal, especially if we can get the Department of Transportation doing the most of it. As far as the striping on Coronado Road, there was a thought that if the Department of Transportation isn't used to doing it or interested in doing it on the part of the road that they're in control of, it would only be a matter of, moving it 6 inches probably to the west and, spill some paint that looks remarkably like a crosswalk there that the village could do.
Unfortunately, you don't use paint. It sounds good, but no.
Well, the equivalent thereof.
But I agree with you, and I've said that too. And in fact, would you have anything to say, Councilor Muir?
Well, I was gonna ask a few questions, but please.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No.
I can, when you may get on some tangent. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Mayor.
Use your microphone though.
Oh, yeah. First of all, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions and you got some very good going. But you also went through some slides real quick and there was one that caught my attention, but I couldn't. Can you go back on your slides? Because I think it's
Scroll.
next one. Next one. Right, oh, that was the one before. Okay.
Yeah.
The one where it says project implementation funded by MDOT, and then you talked about the asphalt patch. Keeping that in mind, here's my question. You talked about this happened 10 years ago. You have made reference to that a few times. Do you have some paperwork? Where did you come up with that? And do you have some paperwork to back that? Somebody told you it was 10 years. Let's go back to that one. Somebody told you it was 10 years ago. Who said that?
I do not have.
Jeff
Jeff Radford.
Jeff?
Radford, in his investigations, had it pegged at 2014. I'm sure we could dig up the
If you
document.
don't mind, I could call him and do it, or if you could do that with me, or we both do it together, because I'd sure like to get the paperwork that goes along with that.
It might be in our trails master plan. We'll
Yeah,
have to go back
it's
and
not
look,
here.
but that's probably where Jeff got the information from.
Okay,
If
thank
it's-
you.
If it's anywhere, it would be there.
And so if we could get that, that's going to be able to help us because we're just started to have some conversations with, and that's where the mayor was going, and I'm sure he's got some fine questions that come along with it. That being said, we're trying to put a new or revive an old ability for us to communicate with one another. And tomorrow we're having the meeting. And so with that in mind, this idea of striping, I'm going to turn it over either to Ron or to the mayor. Has, in your knowledge, they've given us any permission to do any striping anytime?
Not that
Anything.
I can recall. John, do you recall anything?
No,
They don't let us,
they don't let us touch.
we have hesitated to do anything because of potential concerns for liability, obviously.
Right.
And they have never been terribly responsive. Now, the other day when we talked to Secretary Cerna, he was a little more responsive about the idea of partnership, I thought.
Right.
And so tomorrow that's going to be, I'd like to bring that up again.
Okay.
If they'll just let us do some of this stuff, I think the shoulder enhancement that basically is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, we could do that. We have to find the money for it, but we could probably do that. I mean, these guys are always looking for ways to practice using their heavy equipment. And in fact, I think Steve has talked about getting a striper, which would be, handy because getting somebody to come out and stripe a small section of road is difficult because they like to do big jobs. And so, no, this is very timely. It's very good. Thank you for coming and thank you for telling us all this stuff. But we are going to talk to them around 10 o'clock tomorrow. Are they coming here? Or are we going to be on Zoom
Both.
or both?
That's great.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, the last picture that you showed us where they had come and then the stripes were coming this way, which made it obvious that it wasn't an extra lane. Those are important if you have something to stripe. And so in your work that as you went up and down, some of us were looking at that little yellow one. I don't remember seeing that, but I can imagine what it would look like when it stood out. Is there any other places like that outside of your report tonight where there are patches that it's inconsistent and then all of a sudden, hey, look what we found, and then no inconsistency? Other than that one, have you found any others?
not necessarily patches, but that's been an issue of discussion in our meetings. Exactly that, about establishing, we're identifying some areas that would really benefit from having some crosswalks, which kind of falls into line from the article I just recently read about the discussions about reducing the speed on Corrales Road. Crosswalks could, naturally help that, particularly in a town that, well, not Corrales, but Albuquerque, that is, doesn't have a great reputation for pedestrian safety. And I would think anything to enhance pedestrian safety would only serve the purposes of the greater community.
And one more question on that one. The reason I was interested is, like the mayor said, we're gonna have that meeting. We'd like to be able to present them something and be able to work that out. And so I'm glad the mayor and the Corrales in general is interested in partnering with that. And, if they don't want to do the responsibility, then, allow us to do it without any, ramifications. But again, with that stripe that looks a little different than on that, that's nice. And I like that one. And it caught my attention, immensely over here, only because I live in the Ray North End. And as of late, this last month, I would say it's probably doubled, and then it's always been that main from the beginning. People are passing and thinking that they can pass there, without even the slow tractor coming along. They're just moving along as they should, and they're like passing on the right hand side. Like there's an opportunity to do that. So thank you for bringing that. And if you, in your research, if you find any more like that, please let me or the Corrales in general just know about us. And so we can continue to work on that, because that's our goal with our meeting tomorrow at 10. It's not the first. Hopefully it's certainly going to not be the last. It's going to be a continuation. If we have a plan, and then we're going to ask them to continue to see if they can meet our goals. That'll be the important part. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Send an email. Send an email to the village clerk.
Okay.
And she'll compile it all in a file and we'll deal with it.
Terrific.
Okay. Councilor Alsterbrook, you wanted to say something?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just to follow up to one of their suggestions, and thank you, gentlemen, for coming in and showing us this. Without involving DOT at all, I think it would be worthwhile for us to stripe a crosswalk across Coronado on our street. The reason being, I go in and out of there multiple times a day. The sight triangle south is obstructed by utility boxes, bollards, phone poles, and what have you. In order to get a good, safe view of oncoming traffic, you have to pull forward to the point where you're in the crosswalk area, actually. And so having a crosswalk stripe there would be a warning both to drivers and pedestrians that, hey, here's an interaction zone. Be on your toes.
Okay. Councilor Murray, Councilor Burkett. You have any comments or questions?
No, thank you, Mayor. My only comment is I think we ought to look at the rest of the crosswalks within the commercial area. A lot of them are faded and need to be repainted. So I think that would be a good thing to put on the agenda.
Councilor Burkett?
No, I was just looking to see if I could find any sort of reference to this project from 2014, and it does look like MR or Mr. Cog does have some reference of several projects in Corrales in 2014. I'm screenshotting those. I'll send them to Melanie after the meeting that are safe pathway to school stuff. Oddly, there's also one for solar powered slow down signs on Loma Larga. So I'd like to dig deeper into that as well. It says that 4 of them were funded. Yeah, could be some interesting things here.
Wow, who would have thought, huh?
Well, on that point, thank you. If you could say that, so she'll have it by 10 tomorrow, because I think anything we ask for, if they say, well, I don't know about that, we say, well, we're not doing anything new. This is historical perspective. We're just going to continue what you did 10 years ago and make it better. So thank you for doing that, Counselor.
You get more information from
Yes,
Tanya?
I guess 2 things that I've just been made aware of. Councilor Burkett, Tanya thinks that those solar powered signs are actually our large signs, like that we have at the Anderson property that currently read parking for Growers Market. So we believe that's where that money went for those. And then the yellow bumpy stuff is apparently for ADA for blind people. Why it goes to nowhere is my question.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
But yeah, email us stuff if you see something that's a question, and we can certainly ask them. Whether we get anything to happen is another story. but they seem to be more receptive to partnering because they're focused on pedestrian safety right now.
Good.
So,
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Oh, man. Now we'll listen to our village administrator's report.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Tanya, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Administrator Curry. I know I said I wasn't coming in person, so I lied.
No.
One of the reasons why is what we're going to talk about. We're going to do some COVID updating. So respiratory rates for COVID up between August 18th and August 31st for Sandoval County. We're actually pretty low. All respiratory diagnosis at discharge was 1.75% of all hospital visits. Only 1.17% was COVID, and flu was 0.04, which is why I'm still saying, unless you're at really high risk or can afford to pay for a second flu shot in case we have a long flu season, not quite yet to get your flu shot. Unless you're one of those people who go to the doctor and know you're not going to go back to get your flu shot, then do it. It's better to have one now than not do it. But like me, I'm monitoring when flu levels go up, and then I'll run to a local pharmacist and get my flu shot then. Remember, if you're older, you want to get the quadvalent vaccine, the high dose, the quadvalent. So in New Mexico, the highest COVID area is going to be the county of Santa Fe, with 3.2% of all discharge diagnoses being respiratory, and 3.1% of those is COVID and 0.1% is flu. In the last 7 days, ending August 28th, 791 lab cases of COVID in New Mexico, so 37 per 100,000. Remember, if that's just lab, that isn't the people I knew who tested at home that have COVID right now. If they didn't go to their doctor, they're not in this. We had 7 hospital admits, so that's still a good number, only 1 per 100,000. And remember, the highest age group is still going to be 75 plus. Then 65 plus is going to be your next highest age group of admits and severe outcomes. Test positivity for the state of New Mexico right now is 13.5%. The CDC positivity for the United States worldwide is down from 11.6 to 10.8%. ED visits are up from 1.5 to 1.6%. And all hospitalizations are now down from 2.1% of all hospitalizations were COVID related to 1.3. From 8/24 to 8/30, wastewater nationally is moderate. New Mexico is moderate. I wanted to give you some Sandoval County numbers, and it was said very high. But when I dug into the actual data for that, they reported June's numbers in August. So that very high doesn't equate to now. So if you go, you really have to dig in and see what date the tests were from. In the United States, 76% of all COVID is XGF, which is also known in the media as Stratus. And what that is still an Omicron variant, but it's a recombinant variant. It was 2 different strains of Omicron that got together and changed. So it is more contagious, but does not seem to be more virulent. Deaths, which is my last number for COVID, the death reports were up from 0.5% of all deaths for the week ending 8/16 to 0.06% of all deaths were from COVID. So that's still not a great number. It was 230 deaths so far calculated for the week ending August 16th. That is down from the years before. In 2024, it was 1,082 deaths. In 2023, it was 921 deaths. And if we go back further, we're closer to the 10,000s. So we're doing better, but it is time. I'm going to talk about vaccine. Vaccine is out. Not all pharmacies have their new 25-26 vaccine, but they are now coming in. The state of New Mexico issued some health orders through the Department of Health, and they did some stuff through the pharmacy board. So now their recommendation is anyone older than 65 should get a vaccine. Children 6 months to 23 months should get a vaccine. And the reason why we're kind of breaking it down is the way the vaccines are broken down. People 2 to 64 at high risk for severe COVID-19 should get a vaccine. And any New Mexico resident who wants to get a vaccine should get a vaccine. So we don't have some of those constrictions that the FDA has put out. CDC is still not met. They're not meeting until September 18th. New Mexico, along with multiple other states, have written their Department of Health rules, so they do not have to wait for CDC approval. They're only doing it on FDA approval. So that's good. I know I'm going to get a question. Do you want me to answer it now? Counselor Waldman had a question because the media is doing a lot of reporting about Medicare coverage and not covering COVID vaccines. I've done a little bit of a deep dive. I have not reached out to a pharmacy yet, but the deep dive I looked into was it's really a coding issue that not all Medicare codes had been put in to cover the vaccine. So if you call up a pharmacy, ask them, are you doing just plain Medicare? And if they say no, ask them why. It seems to be that ICD-10 code, that seems to be the issue, but I think it has been corrected. I do know that your Advantage plans, most of them are already covering it and have already put those codes in. So do your due diligence, and it looks like it will be covered. It looks like it's just not happening. It's insurance, so it takes a while.
But Walgreens, CVS, they're on board at this point.
They are. The Walgreens and CVS, I know people who I talked to yesterday and said, yes, you're good. This is what you should do. They text me, hey, went to Walgreens and I believe they got Moderna. I do know some people have been telling me they want Pfizer and Costco didn't have it yet. Keep calling or find another place. You can do mix and match. It's also okay. But if some people, we like our brand and let's stick with it. Measles. I'm really afraid to say this. Every time I've stood up here and said this, we've got a new case. We're still at 100 cases. We have not had a new case in New Mexico since 8/10. So that's good. The United States is, as of September 3rd, is up to 1,431 cases. So that is still time to get your measles shot. If you don't know where you're at on vaccines, you can go to Vax, VAXVIEW. Put it in your search bar, and if you've been vaccinated in New Mexico, you can pull your vaccine card down, or for your kids. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray.
Sure.
Tanya, is there any indication that the state might pick up the tab for those who are not uninsured and cover the COVID vaccinations? Because I saw one indication, one story said this woman had paid $200 to get a COVID shot. I'm just wondering, is the state willing to step up and take up that difference?
Was that the lady who's Medicare? She decided she wasn't waiting on the Medicare. Do you know?
It may have been, but I'm just curious about those who are not insured. Is the state going to cover the cost of the COVID shot?
There should be some coverage for non-insured. And if there's anyone listening, my cell phone's everywhere, 505-702-4182. Call me. I will be happy to help you. But there's also Pfizer and and Moderna both have a way in place also for them to be able to give you a coupon, kind of like, oh, what's that? GoodRx. There's some stuff out there to make sure you can get your vaccine. My understanding is the free government from the federal government, there's still some funding there, but I don't know if that's true. It's really hard to find some of this updated information. But I will always help someone. And I know a lot of the Department of Health nurses now. Love them dearly. Wish I didn't know them because I only know them because of COVID. But they will help me navigate for you guys.
Is there any chance the village is going to have any clinics?
No, now that we have to buy them, you all would have to give me a lot of money. And I'd have to actually figure out billing of insurance for us to make back our money. Otherwise, I really enjoyed helping, and I think we all did a really good job of doing the vaccine. So I'd love to, but we just can't.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Zach? Any questions?
Nothing from me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Okay, this is the next presentation is actually kind of the second discussion about it in a series. We're going to have a discussion tonight about fire hydrants. And then there's going to be some more discussion about fire hydrants in the near future. Anthony?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administrator Curry. I was asked to kind of do a little presentation today. There's been a lot of talk, as you know, in the village about the hydrants and our progression, and I believe citizens are seeing them popping up all around. And, you know, the big question, I think you've heard me say this, is, you know, when are we going to get a hydrant near my house, Chief? So Ron gave me the opportunity and the mayor to address the public and the council tonight. And I did my best, and with some help, trying to put together just off of Google Earth, some simple stuff for you. And I did come prepared with some numbers. So Melanie, if you could put up the first slide, and hopefully everyone can see this. Okay, so the first slide indicates actually, yes, okay. So that right there is what we have currently in the village as far as hydrants and water mains. So all the red lines are 8-inch mains, C900, good quality infrastructure. The blue line is all 12-inch main. So we had to kind of reverse engineer it when we started this project. We started closer to the valley and the tank at Loma Larga. However, we knew that we were going to be pursuing getting a larger tank up on top of Angel, which we're currently working on, getting a 500,000 gallon water tank at the top. And so we had to start thinking about, once we get that tank constructed and the infrastructure in place, we need the larger pipe to supply the smaller one that we're currently doing. So that just gives you a little indication of what we currently have right now as far as infrastructure. Okay, the next one, Melanie. This one here shows the current red and dark blue of what's existing. And then the blue lines you can see are future. There's a lot of questions like, what is your master plan? What are you trying to establish as far as your goal? And so you can see in the far northwest or the northern part of Corrales, we have the water tank off of Angel, and then it comes down and ties into the infrastructure that we already have there. From there to the north, we'd like to go north along Loma Larga, which we have a license agreement with MRGCD to do that. We would like to cut across on Cary. At the fire substation, we have a water tank. We'd like to bore underneath the Dulcelina Curtis, the Harvey Jones. We'd like to run north all the way to Corrales Road by the trees of Corrales area. And then you could also see, I do apologize, it's kind of small, but we would like to come across at Romero, where we would have easement and right of way to try to put a hydrant by the Bosque there. We'd like to come down at Academy, where we already have some hydrants, but extend that line all the way to Corrales Road. So you can see where we have kind of our main system, but we're trying to branch off on any sort of easement or right of way to try to get us to Corrales Road. As you know, Corrales Road is very difficult for us to run a hydrant line down because of lack of easements or right of way. So we're trying to intersect at different points of Corrales Road to provide coverage. On the very south end, we like to pick up where we left off of Loma Larga and continue all the way down to Cabazon. We have future plans of trying to go underneath and provide water down Applewood, which is a village-owned road, and then kind of shoot off on the Sandoval lateral to try to cover some of those areas. The yellow is what we are currently in the process of doing right now. So behind the elementary school, we're continuing off that red line and we're continuing south, and we're going to be working on that for the next year. Okay, next slide. And that's just a little more detail, kind of a closer zoom of the north end that I was talking about, our future goals and plans. We currently do not have budget for this, but this is a pipe dream. Next. There is, what is that one? Oh, that's south from Ella, roughly down past Meadowlark, and that is the zoomed in portion of Applewood and the San Mateo drain. Okay, next. And the yellow part there is what we are currently working on. You could see we're trying to go from Dixon to Valverde, and we're currently working on the contractors were out today at Rincon, and they crossed Rincon Road. So they're progressing. They're doing about 40 to 60 feet a day. And it's because of the soils down there. It's real sandy, so they have to be very careful and making sure their excavation trench is wide enough and safe enough for the employees. So it's a little slower, but we're getting there. Next slide. So here's a picture of that's getting everyone's attention. Bright yellow. This is our new standard that we're going to adopt for the village. So all of our ballards will be painted yellow. They'll have 2-inch red reflective spaced. I think it's like 8 inches from the top and then another 12 inches. We're trying to establish a standard. That way they're all uniformed. And there's a reason for that. Okay, next. Here's just some pictures of, what goes on. A lot of people don't realize how much work is entailed unless you're in that profession. We plan to put pipe in the ground, we get money, but there's always a lot of unknowns until you start excavating. We always call 811, it's the law. But some things aren't marked, or we run into someone buried concrete or whatever. So, but this is an excavation hole where you can see that they have the pipe. We follow, our contractor follows AWWA standards. They're roughly anywhere between 4 feet or 3.5 foot in the ground. And then they backfill it with the soil. And then they put tracer wire so we can identify down the road where all the infrastructure is at. Our public works director makes sure that 811 database is updated. So if someone in the area calls to dig, we get notified so we can go mark our utilities so they don't accidentally hit it. This particular picture, you can see that hydrant is kind of faded and has a green top. We were able to recycle some of Corrales Elementary School hydrants and infrastructure that they pulled out of the ground because they're under construction, and they're perfectly fine. We rebuilt all the internal parts, put new seals, and so that's a recycled hydrant that saved the village $5,000. So, and then we utilize some of the valves and stuff. So we repurposed them, reused them, which that cost savings allowed us to get a few hundred more feet in the ground. So next. There's another picture of the pipe. You can see, there's T's and there's that recycled hydrant that we're really proud of. So next. Here's another picture of Dixon. You can see where we put valves. This picture includes some valves with a bypass. We have future plans of trying to put a hydrant closer to the Bosque. With this infrastructure, I didn't zoom in, but we're able to isolate our water tanks, and we could actually pressurize, if we had water in the ditch, up to that valve and put ditch water if we needed to, in the event that, let's say, we just are running out of water. So some cool stuff's happening. So we're real excited about that. And I want to clarify, in case someone is wondering, why would you put ditch water into something like this? This is strictly non-potable fire suppression water. So we're not contaminating any sort of drinking water. This tank.
Anthony, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much water are you anticipating delivering on a fire from our fire hydrants? What's your goal?
So our goal, Mr. Mayor,
I mean,
Council.
not now, but a goal is going to be what?
So Each fire hydrant, we try to shoot that we get 1,000 gallons per minute.
Okay.
Based on our fire pumps. And we're currently meeting that standard.
Good. All right.
The total volume, which I'll get into later,
Okay.
will give you the total volume of capacity that the system will sustain. This tank here, a lot of citizens have seen these tanks and they're wondering what they are, so I figured I'd attach a photo. These are old military drinking water tanks. They were given to the Village of Corrales surplus, free of charge. And we utilize them. They're 500 gallons. We fill them up with our tanker trucks. And the next slide. You can see they're stacked in three. And that pump is what the contractors use so they can get water to backfill their trenches. So we utilize the tanks. They're right there. There would be 1,500 gallons of water. And then we just try to refill the tanks in the evenings, and that kind of keeps the cost per linear foot down so we can have cost savings so we can get more pipe in the ground. Okay, next slide. The reason why we have a standard, or we're adopting a standard on our bollards, is because of this. This is an actual accident that we had in the Village of Corrales. The car was totaled and the bollard stopped the car before it hit our hydrant. So there was no loss of service. There was no water leak. The bollard had to be straightened out, and but it held up. But we're going to, there's a reason why we have the bollards to protect the hydrants. It is a topic of discussion. Some of the questions I get are why do some hydrants have 4 bollards, others only have 2? It depends on where they're located and how far off of a roadway they are, etc. Okay, and I think that's the last slide. Okay. So Mayor, you asked the question. So I put together a little bit of numbers here. So the main fire station, Loma Larga, and the Corrales Elementary School, because they're all linked together, is a total of 264,000 gallons of water as far as capacity. And so each tank has a pump that will supply if we open up a hydrant anywhere within that system. And with having 3 pumping stations, it also gives us redundancy that if one pump was to fail or the power's off. So the Corrales Elementary School does not have a backup generator. Loma Larga and the main fire station do. So it's kind of like a phased, we have kind of a backup for a backup, which is good for a fire suppression system. I think last time there was a question about recovery and how long it takes to fill up some of the tanks. So I put together a couple of numbers to give an example. So our main fire station is like 120,000 gallons of water. It will produce roughly 60 gallons per minute-ish, maybe less. So just an approximately 33 hours to fill up that tank. The rec center is a standalone system. I believe it has 4 or 5 hydrants on that system. It's a smaller tank, 38,000 gallons, but the well produces 400 gallons per minute. So the recovery on that, if we were to deplete that tank, is 1 hour and 35 minutes to fill. So if we went back to one of my slides, which we don't have to, the yellow mark that we're trying to really get to is we're trying to get a connection through Priestley to the rec center to tie in the rec center system to help feed our system. Because you could see that if we start depleting our system, the rec center is probably our best option for really fast recovery. So those are just some real quick math. We have a total of 66 hydrants in Corrales. Some of them are privately owned, like Pueblo Cerros. But that's currently what we have in the village. We have roughly, I did my best to calculate the feet. We have approximately 18,000 feet of pipe in the ground. And that is different, obviously 8-inch and 12-inch pipe. Each fire hydrant roughly $10,000 to install brand new. That's in the hydrants, the fittings, the valves, the concrete, the bollards. So we have roughly $660,000 in assets in that, minus the private owned hydrants. The pipe, the valves, etc. With the 18,000 feet we have, approximately $100 per linear foot is equivalent to $1,800,000 in assets that we have. So for a total of $2,460,000. So I just tried to put some numbers to show you that we have been extremely busy and we're not going to stop. We're going to continue. We appreciate all the support we get from you, the council, the citizens, legislatures, and the patience that the citizens have had with us working around some of these roads and stuff has been, phenomenal. They understand the importance of getting a hydrant into the system close to their home. And then my department, we're doing our best trying to go door to door, let them know that, construction is going to happen. I've gotten some good feedback about some trash. We go and try to address that right away. So, and last but not least, we have a little video. We have a citizen friend of the fire department. She's very talented. She listened to some of my ideas of trying to come up with a PSA because I've had lots of questions about hydrants and how they work and where do we get our water. And so we wanted to do something fun. This is still in the works. We're trying to, we may do some modifications to it, or we might just do a whole nother series on it. So I'll go ahead and pause and we'll go ahead and play it.
Hi there, I'm Dewey the Droplet. Have you ever wondered how water travels through the village of Corrales and is used for a variety of purposes throughout the village? Well, come with me because today I'm going on an adventure to show you how I might be seen watering a farmer's field or helping our firefighters put out a fire. My adventures can be endless. Let's take a peek at some. My journey begins underground, deep beneath our feet, in something called an aquifer. An aquifer is a sponge-like layer deep beneath the ground that soaks up and stores water. This natural underground reservoir can hold water for many years until someone taps into it by drilling. Whoa, do you feel that vibration? Me too. Looks like someone drilled a well and now the real fun begins. When a well is drilled, I get pulled up by a powerful pump. Whee! Here we go, that was fun. Now that I'm above ground, my journey can take me through pipes that snake through the village, or into holding tanks that can be used for a variety of non-potable adventures. When I'm not needed, I may hang out with my friends in a holding tank, or I might just flow back into nature to help plants grow, or even make my way back to the aquifer to begin the exciting adventure again. My job above ground is so important. Sometimes I get to help farmers water their fields, and other times I get to help fight fires. How cool is that? I love being helpful. Here I go, zooming through hoses to help save the day. Woohoo! Thanks for coming with me on today's adventure. I hope you had fun learning how water travels throughout the village of Corrales. I had so much fun on our adventure and can't wait for more together. Stay curious, Corrales.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Very good. Very
Yeah, it came out really good, and we hope that we'll make a decision administratively if we're going to start pushing that out, and just and this may be the start of another series of questions that we receive to try to just educate everyone. So I stand for questions.
Councilor Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering that the yellow line, is that on the interior drain?
Yeah. You want me to pull the slide back up on the interior drain?
Right, the yellow line.
Yeah, for the Andrews interior drain.
Andrew's line.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
The
I
and
mean, the
the
whole yellow line that was through there, right? So.
let's just clarify.
Should be.
Yeah, right there. So that is currently on the Andrews drain. And it's right there behind the elementary school currently. and we're proceeding south. I don't know if you probably can't zoom in on that. So right now, the line is being run on the west side of the drain within our easement right away, our license agreement that we currently have with the Conservancy. And so we will cross over. You kind of see it where it jogs to the east side. And then from there, it'll be on the east right away, down all the way to the Bosque. Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's on the, not in the middle of the road, that's on the side, right?
Right. My license agreements allow me to be roughly 10 feet from the property line on the outer edge of the easement. Now, there are exceptions. We have a lot of encroachments, which I'm finding out. So we have to make some modifications to our license agreement on some of these encroachments, and some of the property owners are currently moving their encroachments, but some of them are fixed, walls and things that have been encroached over the years. So we can't bend the line too much, so we have to go wide a little bit. We are trying to avoid any sort of sharp 90s or 45s, because every time I put a fitting into the pipe, I start reducing the friction loss. And so we don't want to do that. We want as straight as possible with as less fittings as possible, so we can maximize the velocity and the volume of the infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Counselor Murray.
Counselor Murray?
Thank you. So as you progress down Loma Larga, and I know you said that this was non-potable water, is there any discussions with the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Utility about connecting your line there with a valve that in case we got into really deep doo-doo, we could supplement with their water?
No, not currently. I guess eventually when we get down to that, closer to them, we can have those discussions. I think the only concern would be connecting a potable water system to a non-potable water system. We would have to put in some infrastructure there to prevent any sort of backflow or anything of cross-contamination.
So is there, let me think about this for a second. Oh God, I had a question, now it just floated off in the Netherlands. So, yeah, anyway, if I think about it, I'll send you an email. So
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for there.
Anyone else? Zach, do you have anything?
He's shaking his head no.
Do you have somebody else?
No, I was just saying he's
Thank
shaking
you.
his head.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you very
welcome.
much. That was a really nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next item I want to mention is the old church. I think some of you have been following it, or most of you have been following the work that's been done. It's this is a kind of a shout out to Tanya for her help, the shout out for the committee who raised some money, a shout out to the council for adding extra money in at the last moment on the budget. And so the old church looks, if you have a chance to go by and take a look at it, go by and take a look at it. I was with Tanya on last week as they were going through some of the final punch list items. And then she reported to me today, standing in the old church, that with the splitters running, it got down to a cool 76 degrees inside the church. And so I just want to make sure that people are aware that it was a group community effort that put it together, along with some extra funding from the council here, and a special shout out for Tanya from running the project. So here's to you, Tanya. Thank you.
I understand that wedding went off without a hitch. Is it?
They're still married.
Very good.
Last thing I want to mention tonight is that as of Monday of this week, animal control officers are reporting and are part of the administrator's office. They now report to the administrator, And so we appreciate the work that the police department did in the transition, and there'll be some more transition as we go through it. But Brian Cat now report to the administrator's office. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
That's it. Okay. So we'll move on to Corleone's Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion or debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or a concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Melanie?
Okay. Up first is Carol Welch. Carol, if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'll speak over here. I'm sorry about that. Mayor Fanning, members of the council. My name is Carol Welch, and I've lived in Corrales 18 years. My husband and I have owned and paid taxes on property here for over 40 years. We love Corrales and we love the rural lifestyle. I'm here this evening because I strongly support Proclamation number 2505. I believe that it addresses a lot of what is happening from the White House. Our democracy, as well as our Constitution, are being challenged as never before. I had never worried about our democracy being taken away or my rights, which are granted to me through the Constitution, being taken away or even threatened. This is not true today. Our time now is not normal. We, the people, have got to come together to fight the changes that are happening. My hope that you, our mayor, and all of you on the council will pass, approve, and adopt the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. So for future reference, anybody else in the audience who wants to speak about something that's already on the agenda?
We didn't have it on the sign-in sheet, so I told her it was okay.
I thought it was on there.
No.
Oh, okay.
Usually nobody cares about the proclamation, so that was my fault.
My apologies. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is my first time.
Oh,
so-
we're glad you're here. Come back again.
Oh, I'll be back.
And if you can't make it, you can watch on Zoom. You can
That's right.
participate on Zoom.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for your comments.
All right, up next is Amy Clement. Clement with an N. If you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, I'm Amy Clement. I live on 942 Old Church Road. We bought it. Oh, I will wait. We bought it in 2010. Couldn't figure out how to make a living here. Finally, our dream came true in 2018. Moved here. We had always thought it was charming. Coming from LA, I lived in Palisades, and our neighbors were liked to collect unused vehicles and tires, and we just thought, okay, that's the part of the charm of Corrales. Now, 15 years later, it has just accumulated and accumulated and accumulated, and all 4 homes I lived in Palisades are all burned down from the fire. So this January, it just kind of like made me nervous about that. When I talked to some people in the fire world, they said those vehicles and tires will burn for a long, long time. And it's now a danger thing. And now there's also homeless people that live in excrete and don't have water or electricity. And it's just become an issue where we thought we needed to bring it to the table. And I don't fully know I saw this is not a discussion, so I can't ask questions, but I know we're formally, there's a bunch of neighbors, we're all trying to put together a presentation to bring to the agenda. We've been taking drone pictures, but they're probably obsolete now because every day more and more comes to the property.
What's your address again?
I'm 942 Old Church Road and the property is 744 Old Church.
744?
744. No, I'm 942, but their property is 744.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll look into it.
Thank you so much. Okay, next is Bob Eichhorst. Bob, if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Bob Eichhorst, Village of Corrales. I used to be a Democratic precinct chairman in Corrales, but I'm damn sure not progressive. I am speaking against this proclamation. If the mayor wants to write this letter, put it in your name. If the council wants to write this letter, put it in your name. Once that seal from the Village of Corrales goes on it, it represents everybody in Corrales. You didn't give anybody notice that this was going to happen, or else you'd be plummeted with a ton of Republicans in here. Like I said, I'm very conservative, Democrat. I disagree 100% with what you've got here. If you want to be this political, put it in your name. You're doing it to run for mayor. Don't. It's a gimmick. I dropped out of the race just so Fred could come in the race and run against you. This is going in the wrong direction. This is supposed to be a nonpartisan board. This is not nonpartisan proclamation. What happened to the nonpartisanship? Oh no, we don't care what you are. We don't care if you're BS. This is 100% your feelings, your attitude, your stance. It is not the whole village, and you gave nobody notice. Nobody had noticed that this was going to come up tonight. You should be ashamed. If you want a letter, you write your own, put your name on it. Don't put Village of Corrales on it. You do not represent the whole Village of Corrales, especially without giving anybody notice to come in here and speak. This is just not the way we do things in Corrales. I've still got time. Okay. I asked you last time, when you guys make sausage? Well, you guys don't. You're letting all the little individual committees do all the sausage work for you. They hand you a proposed ordinance. You just rubber stamp it. They got rid of all but 4 committees 10 years ago, 12 years ago. They kept Parks and Rec, Library, P&Z, and Bosque. And now we got 100 different little committees. We can't go to all those meetings. There's too damn many of them. And it's on purpose. You don't want us to know what everybody's doing. And then they come up with an ordinance. It's never discussed in here because you guys don't make sausage anymore. You let somebody else do the dirty work. And they're doing dirty work without a public participation. They're not elected members. You are really dropping the ball as councilman. It's your responsibility to do this work, and you're not. Thank you.
Okay, up next is Pamela Whitney. Pamela, if you'll state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
My name's Pamela Whitney. I live at 942 Old Church Road. The property of concern to us and 7 other surrounding homes is the Felipe Silva property at 744 Old Church Road. It has over 50 tires that are highly toxic in piles that would burn for days. We're very concerned about the fire hazard that the property is now causing. We have over 20 abandoned trucks and cars that are on the property. We have homeless people living on the property that have absolutely no sewage. I mean, no way to carry away their sewage. They're putting it right into the ground. We are concerned this is going not into only the ground, but our well water as well. This has been going on for about 30 years. After the Pacific Palisades fires, all of us got together and said enough is enough. It is time for us as neighbors, and there are 7 of us who attended the P&Z meeting about a month ago and spoke out. We first started working with Sherry, and then she left P and Z, and now we're working with Lori. Lori has been unbelievable in tackling this with us. She states to us, and she gives us regular reports, that she has produced everything that she can for the zoning, concerning the zoning to you as the council. And we've also met with Mel Knight. She's been out there, has seen the property herself. We invite each and every one of you to come see it. When the property next to the church was vacated and Steve, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Yeah, Nakamura came in and cleaned it out. All his stuff was daily trucks coming and dropping it off next to our property at 744. And the junk and the easement that he now owns next to the property that's been cleaned up is now also coming up to us. And we think once that property is resolved, even more junk will be coming up. We don't understand how this can be going on for 30 years, but we are asking for a clean and lean. And we feel very confident that once you all are made aware of the fire hazard that this presents and the health issues to our families, not only ours, but if that property and those toxic tires burn, they're going to burn for days. And that's not only going to affect us, it's going to affect the entire community. And I would imagine there would be evacuations as a result of that. So we ask for a clean and lean as quickly as possible, and very much appreciate your attention to this matter as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Marjorie Schneider. Marjorie, if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Marjorie Schneider and live at 292 Ranchitos Road in Corrales. And first of all, I want to thank the Village of Corrales and all you members of the board for giving so many of us a wonderful village to live in. And recently, my husband had a pulmonary embolism right in front of my eyes on a Friday evening, July 25th. And the fire department came immediately to help. They worked on my husband for several hours. I couldn't save him when I called 911, and they couldn't either. And I've since learned that not many people survive a pulmonary embolism. But Anthony, Tanya, and the fire department helped me so much that evening. And I want to let everyone know that you live in Corrales and you have an unexpected situation like this happen, and you get help right away. And during COVID, my husband, the same one that died of the heart attack just recently, spent 4 months in the hospital with pneumonia. And Linda Fahey, we have a greenhouse, and it was full of flowering plants that I was trying to take care of everything in addition to all of these flowering plants. And Linda Fahey got the master gardeners to come and take a lot of these dianthus that we were growing off of our hands, because I could hardly manage the property. I work with Southwest Animal Rescue, the numerous animals I have. And the master gardeners of Corrales came and saved my bacon. They all came and took away many of these dianthus. It's a small carnation that's perennial in New Mexico, and took them off of my hands and saved me from all of the work that I was having to do on my own while my husband was 4 months in the hospital with COVID. So I just want to thank this town for making it the beautiful community it is, and especially to Mayor Fahey and his wonderful wife, Linda, that helped me so much previously when my husband was ill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is Steve Wink. Steve, if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Okay, you pass? Okay, thanks. All right, then that leaves us with Sherry Leonard Wink. Did you want to come speak? If you'll state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman and Councilwomen. My name is Cherie Leonard Wink. I live at 394 Dixon Road, but we have property at 942A Old Church Road. So this kind of coincides with Pam's issue. No one wishes ill harm against Felipe Silva. He's an old gentleman, but there are rules that everyone needs to follow, and dumping your sewage in the ditch when we're irrigating is not one. The fire hazard, there's stacked wood, there's dead wood. Like I said, there's tires, there's many vehicles, there's people living there in trailers that have no water or electricity or sewage. And we were thinking of building there one time on our property, and we called P&Z and asked if we could put a fifth wheel or a motorhome there after the septic was in and after the well was drilled, so that we could watch the construction and be sure that it wasn't vandalized. And the answer was no. You cannot have a motorhome and live in it on a vacant piece of property while you build. Now, we can't do that, but that's being done. And I think it needs to be addressed. It does need to be addressed. And also the property that, right, as you said, right next to where Steve Nakamura bought, which is between the church and Ex Novo. What a horrible sight for people that are coming to the Harvest Fest to see all of this trash just everywhere. And I think both properties need to be looked at. I appreciate your concerns. Thank you.
That's it for this evening.
Okay. We'll move on to Councilors Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion or debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or a concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. A council member may respond to an issue or a concern brought up by a resident in the preceding Coriolanus Forum, but to remain in compliance with the Open Meeting Act, the subject will not be up for debate or discussion. Who will start? Councilor Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there any way Lori can come to the podium?
Lori, would you mind?
Thank you. Just to get some background, I was asked by Sherry Leonard Wink to come probably about maybe a month ago to look at some property that she had concerns about that were bordering on her property. And there were, as these folks explained already, there were mountains of tires, there were campers with broken windows, there were scraps of wood all over the place. And it definitely is a health and safety issue. If anything could light those, the wood that's just laying all over the place there, it would go up in a minute and it would take out people's homes. And again, as you stated about the tires, you know, they could burn and you know, cause people being sick because of the inhalation of the burning tires. So I was kind of wondering where that was at. I know it came up to P&Z before, and I know I talked to you about that before. So if you could maybe kind of give us an update.
Sure, Counselor, council members. As late as today, before the meeting, I did talk to Corey Strife, who's one of our attorneys, and she's been tasked with the best path forward and the most expeditious path forward. It's going to be a heavy lift and it needs to happen. So I had already sent them a draft clean and lean resolution a while ago. Last week I sent, and by them I mean Randy Audio and Corey. I sent them the information I'd gotten from NMED that states there's no septic permits for the property, police reports, past code enforcement efforts, photos and narratives, many of which were provided by the neighbors to me. And I'd already sent a certified letter to the property owner of record, notifying him of potential action that could include a clean and lean. So there are some legal remedies and Corey is on it and she does understand that this is an urgent situation because of, many factors, but, the lack of sanitary facilities and the flammables on the property, amongst every other thing. She knows that this is an urgent matter.
So what is the response you're getting from the property owner?
Nothing. Just words. Oh yeah, we'll take care of it. Well, that's obviously been going on for decades now and it's getting worse, not better. So that's why at this point, I think we move it up a notch to legal action.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Council Alsabrook?
Just a follow-up on that, but not for you, Lori. I'm sorry. It's actually, I'm wondering if Chief Martinez could come up for a question.
Lori, don't go too far.
I'll hang on.
Have a seat, Lori.
I don't want to put you on the spot, Chief. Just very much background information. When can you just outline what's the difference when you fight a structure fire, like a garage or a barn, as opposed to a big stack of auto and truck tires?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor. So it depends on the amount of volume of rubbish that we're talking about. And, some of the properties that we've had fires here in Corrales that have been either neglected or behind fences and then they catch fire and we're responding, we had one on the south end and it was almost like an acre just full of tires and vehicles. And it took a lot for us to contain that. It was more of a defensive type fire. And, our objective was, okay, everything in the middle of this property is on fire, but now we have to protect the homes. You have to triage. I don't know if that answers your question, but, we have had structure fires where the house is packed with, lots of stuff on the inside that you're unaware of. And, it could take a day or two to put it out and suppress and, front end loaders to try to get the debris to mix it up. Because my experience with a lot of this accumulation on private properties, trash is, the water sheds off metal and cars and, you find tin. So, you have to go and get Public Works involved and to suppress it. But they're time consuming, they're dangerous. There's a lot of unknown hazards that we're not aware of. There could be cylinders full of propane or explosive type gases that, put the responder in danger along with neighboring homes or properties. So sometimes emergency management may have to send a notice out to evacuate. So there's lots of things that this particular property that's been described. I'm working closely with Lori. We've talked about it and discussed it, and she's taking lead in the case, and we support her 100%. Yeah.
And you're right across the street, right?
Right across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a long run, but it's a long run.
And the particular property that was sold, was a nuisance property for years. And so now it's all cleaned up. But my understanding, there's just a lot of the stuff had been removed and kind of reallocated at other properties, which has been a problem in Corrales before too. We've had other properties where we've gone through and enforced the rules and planning and zoning and fire department. One of my key questions now, because the lessons learned, is do you own any other properties in Corrales? So if we make them clean it, we want to make sure they're not going to just say, yeah, we'll clean that property and then take it to another place. And then it becomes a problem. So we're trying to obviously be cautious on that too. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chief.
Councilor
Thank
Garrett?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for your return appearance there. Appreciate that. I was just going to ask you to give us a real quick update if you can. You and I have been discussing that property that's up the hill with regards to Corrales and Rio Rancho and the fence. Would you mind giving us a quick update on how that's coming along?
Randy Audio, our head attorney, did speak to the developer directly. And he and I got something in writing from that developer along with some construction drawings stating they are not going to do away with the easement that just happens to be on the Rio Rancho side. and provide some Angel Road folks access to their properties. I had found a 2024 plat that shows the easement still intact. He's going to honor that. He is taking down the existing wall. He said it's not in great shape, but he's going to build a new one in the same area. So he's for now, he's stated he doesn't want to take this on legally. He's gonna accept it
Okay, good.
for today.
So that's good for the residents. Residents get comfortable with
They will
that?
still have, yeah, they were worried that they were gonna lose access to their properties, which they would have.
And I don't blame them. That's very close.
That-
And
that's-
thank you. And tell the rest of the committee is that you moved on that quickly and you got our legal people involved, and it didn't have to become a legal issue. It became a more of an issue of education. And so I'm glad he moved back, and I'm glad that the people up there are very happy about that.
Yeah, we don't want them to have to helicopter in.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
When you're talking to the lawyer, Corey, how long does this process usually take?
You know, I asked her that and she really couldn't give us an answer because when you're talking about, potential district court action, the reason that this is it's going to be hard, we're going to do it, it's going to be hard is because obviously we're talking about, I don't know if I want to use the term squatters, but that's probably a valid term. There are people living there that need to be evicted, not the elderly gentleman who lives in the home, but the other folks who are living in, one of them we know is in a tough shed. And I believe others are living in an old trailer or sheds or heaven knows what. So not only is it us going in and cleaning, but we have to deal with the human factor. And that's another part of it. So she couldn't give me an answer because I anticipated that question. And I said, okay, when can we do this? Can we start tomorrow, please?
The folks that live there, they've been having to put up with this, and now that the gentleman moved more of his things back towards, Old Church.
Right.
On Corrallis Road, it's even worse.
It's untenable. And Corey understands that we have to move as quickly as we can, given whatever legal avenues are available. But, you can ask the court for emergency actions. There are things that legal can do to move it along.
Okay, well, I hope she does what's necessary.
I think she will.
Yes, sir. Counselor Woolman.
Thank you, Mayor. A community input meeting on rehabbing Saucy Park has been tentatively scheduled for Saturday, October 4th at 11 o'clock in the library. Community input is a requirement of the National Park Service, which is administering the $203,000 grant the village has received. As you know, Corrallis has only one park, La Entrada, and this is a terrific opportunity to add a park in a different part of the village to serve all the residents of the village. So please attend the meeting, bring your ideas to the meeting, or email me at bwaldman@corrallis-nm.org. This is a very exciting prospect.
What time?
11 o'clock.
Okay, I missed that.
Turns out Tanya informed me this morning that it's also the Saturday of Art in the Park, as well as the book sale. So there'll be a lot of people in the area, but the parking may be a bit of a problem, but
you can park next door.
Exactly. So I would ask Melanie if you could maybe post a notice of possible quorum.
I can do that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray.
Yes, Counselor Murray.
Well, Lori, I need to have you back on the hot spot again.
Counselor Burkett, do you have anything?
I have two brief things, but I'll wait till Councilor Murray's done.
Okay. No, I just wanted to be sure she didn't have to go running back and forth.
It's okay. I need the exercise.
Yeah. So Lori, Territorial Plaza, when they paved their parking lot, they probably exceeded their lot coverage. What's the update on that? Are we going to make them, remove what's in excess, or what is being done at that property right now?
So as I've stated before, in the stands, I've asked them to, they did hire an engineer and provide us with a grading and drainage plan. And yes, they are over their lot coverage limit. And I did ask them to give us a certified as-built, and I've not gotten that. So that is going to be one of the top 25 things that our new code enforcement officer, if necessary, can take to court and say, look, we need this. And then we move forward from there. I do run out there every time we get a rain, assuming I'm at work, and about 3 times now. Because I was shocked to find out he actually wasn't dumping water on Coronado. I assumed that would be the case, but he's not. His retention ponds are working, but if we get the 2.9-inch rain in 24 hours, that might not be the case. So it's not going away. I'm not going away. It's just, I'm spread pretty thin. And right now, things like this property south of the church that stretches all the way to Old Church are my priority, but I'm not going to do something on this. I'm just hoping that we get a code enforcement officer to take some of these tasks away from me, including that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we have our ordinances and they need to be adhered to. And I don't know about paving projects on properties, whether they have to report to you or not, but we need to make sure that the lot coverage is not exceeded at this point.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
And I had the audacity to take a vacation when this was happening. And so I came back to this. I can tell you since then, there has been a project where I had the happy news to deliver to a property owner that they're going to have to jackhammer some of their driveway if they wanted to put in a pool because they were going to exceed their lot coverage, which they did. So I'm on it, but I'm stretched pretty thin. I'm doing the best I can.
Okay. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Mayor.
Zach, did you have any questions?
Nothing for Lori. I just have 3 very brief things now. I have a third one after Councilor Murray's
Thank you, Lori.
question.
You can go sit in.
Okay, first one is talking about this parking lot and the impermeable surfaces and drainage has made me think about the gas station, that every time it rains, there's a puddle that's about knee deep for a week after it rains. And I'm wondering what, if anything, can be done about that. And it's something I don't want to discuss right now, but just something to think about, because we clearly have properties in the village that if they did have a drainage plan, it's not working. The second thing I want to mention on a very positive note is I think the most under-recognized, and that's probably wrong, it's recognized, the most valuable thing of this village, our first responders and their ability to get to the residents of this village quickly, and then the care that people get when they do get there is incredible. It raises our quality of living more than anything else in this village, in my opinion. And finally, just as a matter of Counselors Forum, this is not supposed to be a discussion, and I think all of the discussion that's happened here has been really fruitful, so we need to find a place to put this. But I think Counselors Forum, by definition, is supposed to be a statement by a counselor, and it's not supposed to be a back and forth. So I would like to think about maybe moving this into Administrators Forum, where each of the heads of department have a chance to come up and field questions that are specific to their departments, so we can kind of keep this more on brand. Just a thought.
Totally agree with you, Counselor.
Yes, sir.
I'll be devil's advocate on that. Actually, I think this was mainly an informational exchange. We weren't debating policy decisions or actions or anything else. We were actively seeking information from our staff. So I think it was appropriate.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do periodically. I'm not sure that we have to do it every meeting, but you know, there are some times when we get more information that's very important. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Let's move on to the consent agenda. Now, if there's anything on the consent agenda anybody wants removed, tell me before we make a motion, so we don't go through that confusion that got us last time. Approval of minutes from August 26, 2025, regular council meeting, approval of Starlight Parade event application, and approval of Corrales Elementary Jogathon event application. By the way, that's going to be on September 19th, if we approve it. Does anybody have?
Motion to approve.
Okay, any second?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, let's move on to new business. Consideration action approval of ordinance 25-03 zone map amendment for 4945 Corrales Road. I have a motion to approve.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We've already had this up for how many? 30 days, something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments they want to make? Or, I mean, we've just talked about that similar, the property just right next door, you know. Are you ready to vote?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
With regards to, we're moving it from A1 to residential, I'm sorry,
Office.
office. C, do we have C1, C2, or C3? Do we just have a C, don't we? Just one. Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, the property owner is online. I think he would like to say something if that's okay.
Steve Nakamura?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Speak up.
Councilors, good afternoon or good evening. I just want to let everybody know that we agree with the three ladies who spoke this evening about the mess that's on that property. But we want to make sure everybody knows that we didn't do it. What we did is we spent just under $100,000 to clean up that acre that is just north of Ex Novo. You know, that parcel that's in question is a separate piece of land, and I think somebody's under the impression that we own that piece, and we don't own that piece. And we are Corrales people. We've been here years and years, and we have the same sentiments, and we're worried about a fire. And because right now, our plans are we're putting an office building on that property, so we're just as we have the same opinions as everybody else, and we feel the same way that everybody else in the village feels, and we'd like to see it cleaned up. And like I said, we cleaned up an acre of land that cost us just under $100,000. And our plans are to put something extremely nice, reflective of the village on that piece of land. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, thank you for speaking up. Anybody have a question? Councilor Alsbrook, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Aye.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Burkett?
Aye.
Councilor Murray?
Gotta find my button. Yes.
Okay. Next is consideration action approval of proclamation 25-05, defending our Constitution and separation of powers. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion to approve and a second. Does anybody want to make any comments? Yes, sir. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the mayor and administration for the comprehensive and important statement on our democracy. This is not a partisan statement, but rather an acknowledgement of a significant deviation from 250 years of practice of the separation of powers. While all politics may not be local, it is important for local governmental bodies to acknowledge threats when they exist and support our congressional representatives in their resistance to executive branch overreach. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, this is
I have
Councilor
something
Murray.
to say. Yeah.
Councilor Murray?
I just wanted to make a comment on Bob Icorst. I was looking at the definition of proclamation, and it does not require any input anywhere from residents. This is just a statement being made and before the council. So I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Councilor Burkett, did you speak? Did you say something?
I did. I appreciate it, Mayor. I mean, despite the fact that I agree with virtually everything on this page, I do have some misgivings about whether this is within our job to do this. And I think 3 of the 5 whereases I'm very comfortable with. I'm less comfortable with calling out specific things. I think this is an issue that has grown over time. I don't think it's an issue that started specifically during this administration. It certainly has magnified and gotten dramatically worse. So I have some concerns with calling out specific stuff. I think that it should be limited to separation of powers. It should be limited to executive orders. I would like to see this 3rd whereas and after executive orders. But I don't know that there'll be shared opinion on that, but I do worry that we are sending a message that is being signed by the village of Corrales that 6 people, albeit representatives of the village, are personally voicing their support for. And again, most of this I agree with. I'm just not sure it's in our job description to do this.
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray.
Yeah, Councilor Murray, hold on a second. Councilor, did you want to make a motion?
I would happily make a motion that the 3rd whereas, let me pull it up, ends after executive branch by executive orders. And we have a period there and all the specific examples go away. I think it still delivers the same message. I think it's the most useful version of the message because I think it's something I want to see regardless of whether it's the current administration or it's a future administration. I think that executive orders are a way to usurp power for one branch of the government, and it's been happening for years, and it is being magnified significantly. But my personal opinion is that would be the specific thing that we need to focus on instead of the specific individual transgressions.
I'll second that motion.
Counselor Burkett, you're just asking to move the third whereas about the New Mexico Department of Justice has filed multiple lawsuits against specific executive orders and willful.
No, the one that's the longest whereas, I want it to end
that one.
after
Acknowledges the
executive branch by executive
unconstitutional-
orders.
And then leave the other whereases as is?
Leave everything, I'm happy with everything else.
So you want to remove the third recital?
I want to remove 75% of it. The laundry list of specific willful misdeeds.
Tell me where you wanted to stop again.
After the word executive orders on the second line.
All right. And John, you wanted to second that?
I think Councilor.
Stewart, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was John. And Stewart, you were going to second that?
That is correct.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the proclamation by removing the segment that has been described. Does everybody know what we're talking about? And a second. Is there any further discussion on this amendment? Okay. How do you vote, Councilor Alsobrooke?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Aye.
Councilor Woolman?
No.
Councilor Mira?
I'm still looking at pass for a while.
Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Councilor Burkett?
Aye.
So that's 4.
Yes.
So that
It's just stuck there.
that specific sentence or however many sentences is going to be removed.
We should eliminate all that.
Okay.
So the third whereas of the proclamation will now read simply, the Village of Corrales Council acknowledges the unconstitutional consolidation of power in the executive branch by the executive order.
Period.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I could vote for that.
Okay. So it's 5-1. Anything else? Please let us. Anyone else have any comments or any changes, amendments, or whatever they want to make?
Mayor, just one more comment if I could. My hope is that this represents everyone across the village, wants to see 3 distinct branches of the government. And I think without making this partisan in any way, calling out specific things that people may have differing opinions on, this really solidifies that that's what we think, that the current administration and to lesser degrees, previous administrations have botched that system, and we need that system to function properly.
Correct. Okay. So as we started out with proclamation number 25-0, defending our U.S. Constitution and the separation of powers, that was the whole theme of this proclamation. And regardless of what people think about partisan politics or who's leaning one way or another and who's progressive or not progressive, this was just something that has been bothering me for about 3 months. And I felt like we needed to say something. And it all starts down here in the small communities. I know this is a little bit out of order, I'm sorry. But I don't get to vote. So in case, since I can't vote, and since I do get to put my name on it, but unfortunately, as has been pointed out, we also put the seal of the Village of Corrales.
Mayor, may I ask you a question? I know that's kind of out of order as well. I'd be curious if you thought with that removal, if you think it still represents what your intent of it represents.
Well, it could have been a little better, but no, it's fine. I'm okay with it. There's no life or limb at risk here, and I can certainly feel comfortable with it. But for those of us my age who have served in the military and did their duty and have been around a long time and have seen things change, yes, I agree with you. Things have changed not for the good sometimes, and we've become too polarized. It's very unfortunate. It wasn't that way. Hopefully it'll get better, but I think we have to be involved, and we have to hold our legislators accountable and get, because they're there, they can do something. We can't. Okay, how do you vote? Oh, excuse me.
Just two quick comments. One, this was appropriately noticed, as are all of our agenda items. So this was not hidden or on any secret agenda. This was noticed, and anyone who looked at the agenda for this meeting would have been able to see it's on here and come discuss it, as Mr. Icorst did. So that plus, oh, what was my second point?
It'll come back.
That's all right. In the meantime, so I vote yes.
Counselor Knight,
Yes.
Counselor Woolman.
Aye.
Counselor Miera.
Yes, sir.
Counselor Murray.
Yes.
Counselor Burkett.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on. Consideration action approval of resolution 2538, publication notice for ordinance 2504, authorizing the village to enter into a loan agreement with NMED. So do I get a motion? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about this. I wanted to know exactly what the money was for.
So it's not, I think that they tried to pigeonhole it.
Yeah, they sent us a boilerplate
So
ordinance.
the way we should do this is I should have a motion to approve and then a second. But I'll tell you, it's for $2 million that we plan, if we can find it, to use for water rights. It's a 1% note for 20 years. And they have approved us to get that money at a 1% interest rate for 20 years using our GRT to pay for it. But it doesn't kick in unless we get the water rights and we have 20 years to pay for it.
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and I'll make a motion to approve because we need discussion on this.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion?
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray again.
Yes, sir, Councilor Murray.
All right, so I appreciate that this is for water rights. There has been a lot of comments about there being junior versus senior water rights and so forth. But when this was presented in our packet, I found it very vague in terms of the language because it talked about the project, but it did not describe the project. And it basically said a water system. And I got confused about what was going to be maybe presented to the council. So I wasn't really sure because of the lack of information in terms of what this $2 million loan was going to be for.
I share your concerns and I asked Melanie specifically because this was very confusing to me and I'm directly, we're directly involved in dealing with the NMED. This is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund that you guys have been informed of previously.
It's the Rural Infrastructure
Rural
Program.
Infrastructure
The
Plan.
RIP program, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
But I mean, at the time, I didn't see enough information there to really determine what it was really being used for. So let me ask you this then, Mayor. So if we do not use this $2 million loan,
we don't know
well, we don't know, but if we don't use it, does it revert back then without any penalty to us?
It goes away with no penalty. If
Okay,
we
very good.
prepay it, we get no penalty. It's a real bargain if you borrow the money. But we don't borrow the money unless we do the water rights. So we won't owe the money unless we do water rights.
Okay, very good.
Councilor Woolman.
Quick question on the gross receipts against which we're going to pay the interest. What is our annual ballpark on our gross receipts that we bring in?
4 million.
Yeah, it will run plus or minus $1 million.
So without amortizing or anything, we're looking at so would that be about $20,000 a year in interest?
Yeah, it's about 20,000. Yeah, you're right. It's interest on the unpaid balance.
So it diminishes.
Yes.
Okay.
We sent the numbers up to NMED and they ran through them and they approved them on that basis. But they were very specific on the fact that there would be no money and exchange hands if until the state engineer approves the sale of these water rights. Because during the course of the discussion and everything that we put together with our team that we've advised you about, there's always a possibility, depending on various legal maneuvers, as to how much they might trim those water rights.
Oh.
So the 230 acres could be something less than that, or it could be that exact amount. And so that's why we've assembled this team of lawyers and engineers that we're moving through on it.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You know, when I was trying to read through this, it was vague to me, and that's why I brought it up. And also, I feel as though we haven't even talked to the group that's representing us. I mean, we as a council haven't talked to the group that's representing us to buy the water rights. I mean, once we get the water rights, do they have a plan for that?
So
We haven't.
that
heard
is the
anything.
plan. Go ahead, Go ahead, Ron.
So Counselor Knight, what we've done as we get ready to approach the state engineer's office, we've assembled these group of people, including Mike Hammond and the other people that I've talked to you about. And there are various steps that we have to go through before we even go to the state engineer. One of the things we have to do is complete an inventory of the water rights that we have now. We have to complete an inventory of the wells that we have now. We have to complete an inventory of where those wells are located or any future wells that will be located. And in the course of doing all of that, we also have to make sure that there are any other water rights that we have or we think we have, i.e. what's over at the Gonzalez property on the front half of it that we've purchased and have, make sure that those water rights have been transferred from the Gonzalez family to the village of Corrales. So as we get ready to do this, our next step in this, without going too far out in front of what the team is doing, is that we want to put ourselves in a position so that we make contact with the state engineer's office, have a contact person in the office up there, that we have a conversation with them, so that when we go to make our formal presentation, we've already had a conversation to make sure we're going down the right pathway to begin with. We don't want to go up there and say, here's our plan, tell us what to do next. What we want to do have is a pre-conversation that allows us to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. Because these are 1956 water rights. They're groundwater rights as opposed to surface water rights, which usually are considered to be 1907 rights that people usually gauge in New Mexico. And so what we're doing by building this team is gathering this information, because the state engineer wants to see comprehensively what we have and then what we're going to do going forward if we were able to attain these. And then she will judge the water rights as they're being transferred from the South Valley as to whether they're adequate enough to meet her requirements. So there will be legal arguments and there will be engineering arguments.
But then what happens when say we get the water rights? What are we going to do with those?
Well, that's the 40-year water plan.
Yeah, that's the 40.
We have to put that together, because one of the things we've talked about, which there are quite a few, but one of the things we've talked about is providing a source, and this is actually Mike Hammond's idea when he was both at MRGCD and subsequently the state engineer, to provide for some source of water for our farmers in some way in August and September, when the water seems to die off. Because we don't anticipate a huge change in the water that we get. So we're going out trying to find more water. And we've been told in a previous committee that was put together under Joanne that we probably need something like 1,200 acre feet. Well, when I told this one lady who was helping the individual in the South Valley that we thought we had 37 acre feet, she just laughed, because we're a municipality. We don't have any water rights to speak of. So we're working on moving forward to do that.
So it's kind of geared towards farmers and.
No. That's only one thing. There's a lot of parts, a lot of moving parts. The permit process. We're trying to get it so we can move, like APS does, move permits around to different wells, for example. That's one thing. The idea of helping the farmers is another. The idea of maybe even having a municipal water system is another. I mean, down here in the commercial area, the administrative area, to start with the municipal water system in this area. I mean, there's all kinds of these are all ideas that we're sort of, talking about. And we have John Stomp, who used to work for ABCWA, helping us with that. He's now an engineer and he has a long history of water with ABCWA. And so he's trying to help us put this plan together in an organized way so we can present it to the state engineer and hopefully get all those water rights that are available to be able to use them. And then there are other plans, what we do next, because, the MRGCD has shown some interest in working with us on a water bank, for example. They have a water bank and we'd like to, because it's a way to save your water rights. If you don't use your water rights, they go away. So we're going to try to recapture water rights from people, for people who have lost those water rights, and they can invest in a water bank. So, that's kind of where we are. Is it anything other? It's kind of like, Anthony said, it's kind of a pipe dream. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor and councilors, on the water page on our village website, we do have the previous 40-year water plan. And that's sort of the jumping off point for our team. Is they're going to update that with these new ideas that are kind of being introduced. They're still doing all of the background stuff right now. So that part hasn't started yet. But the water plan and the water report that Mayor Fahey alluded to that was put together by a group about 2020. Does that sound right?
2020 is the last time. Yes.
Yeah. That's also on that page. So any reports I have been able to find, just kind of digging through files in the administration office, anything that says water, I've been scanning it in and adding it to that page. So you can kind of see where we're starting from if you go and look at those documents.
The previous 40-year water plan was never presented or approved by the state engineer.
It was never approved by the state engineer, but it was presented to the council.
Yeah. Stuart,
But it's already 10 years old.
Stuart, you had a question?
Yeah, so Rio Rancho recently had a judgment against them for trying to transfer water rights. And it was San Luis Pueblo, I think, was the one that filed the court injunction. But is this going to cause us any heartburn down the road?
I'm sure it will. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
But we don't want to get too carried away with comments. As you recall, done on all this under previous special session.
And we do have one resident that would like to comment on this topic when it's appropriate.
Okay, anyone else? Councilor Miera?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too was gonna go along with the counselor here because when I read, I didn't understand it, but my question now is maybe more for the attorney. As I look at how we're gonna get this through, it said that designating the use of the funds for the purpose defined in the most current project description form as approved by MED. So they're gonna provide the form and this one will follow that. Is that the way I read that?
This was all written by NMED and sent to us, and they said, this is what you have to approve. So yes.
Sign here.
The question is,
yes,
is as I go along, is what we're talking about now will now be in that form at a later time after we approve this. This becomes like public information because that'll be the form that'll be submitted to us, to them, but it's their form that we're looking at.
Yeah, we didn't do this.
Yeah.
I mean,
anytime a municipality enters into a loan agreement, you have to pass an ordinance to move forward.
That part, it was just the part that the only thing, it looks so kind of like global when you talk about just the use of the most current project description.
Okay. Who wanted to speak?
Oh, Mayor.
Oh, yes, John.
Just a follow on to Councilor Miera. That's the one aspect of that disturbs me about this is a resolution to publish and post an ordinance, but it doesn't say water rights or anything like that anywhere. It just has this generic project.
Yes.
And who knows what that is? I mean, we know what our intent is and we know what the outcome is going to be.
Well, we know we asked
what's
for
written and put in and voted on. There's nothing here to vote on.
Well, we know what we requested and what they were evaluating us to get. Okay, so, and I specifically checked with Melanie because this was very confusing. It was confusing. And like I said, I'm sort of in the middle of it all.
Well, I appreciate that you're in the middle of it as well. If you wouldn't mind just getting, I have to get a quick response just from the attorney there, how he reads it. What? Just the third line, third sentence on the ordinance itself. It says designating the use of the funds for the purpose defined in the most current project description form.
We can hear from the person on Zoom while you're looking at that, can't we?
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, who's on Zoom?
Oh, no, are you talking about the resident that wants to talk?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Bob Icorst. Bob, you've
Okay.
already given us your name and information, so come on up. You'll have 3 minutes.
My question was the same as everybody else up here. What is this for? A cover letter, if you don't want to put it in the ordinance, a cover sheet explaining what this was doing, then it wouldn't get published with the ordinance in the paper. But if you don't put a cover letter on to at least let anybody know what in the heck you're talking about. Obviously, council didn't know. Put a cover letter on there. You're keeping everybody in the blind. Okay, you had an executive session, you have a lot of them. But let us know what you're doing. And you can do it as a cover letter so it doesn't get published with the ordinance.
Good point.
It's just informative for us to know what in the heck, because if you're not going to use the money, put it in the damn bank and get some interest on it.
No, we're paying interest on that money.
1% compared to 4.5% if you put it in the bank.
Yeah, well. You're not allowed, that has another term. It's called arbitrage, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Councilor Mayor, your question again?
Well, do you have it in front of you now?
I have the ordinance in front of me.
Okay, good. On that fourth line where it says the use of the funds for the purpose defined is in the most current project description form approved by MED. Does that assume that that becomes public information, not necessarily even from Corrales, but from the state of New Mexico?
I haven't been through this carefully, Counselor, Mr. Mayor, Councilors. I believe it's boilerplate language. I know that a lot of the executive sessions that have preceded this were because water rights are hotly contested among municipalities. That once it becomes known that there are water rights for sale, Rio Rancho will be hot on our heels.
And we were
And so-
advised of that
Right.
early on, so.
But I believe this is just boilerplate language that NMED uses. And I agree, it's vague, but if I had my druthers, I'd rewrite a whole lot of stuff that the state uses. But this is what they use, what they prescribe that we use.
But you don't feel it's improper?
No, I do not.
Counselor, if I'm.
That's what I needed to hear.
If I may add
Yes.
some potential clarification. The use of the word current form is used because we're going to make a presentation to the state engineer's office for 230 acre feet. And what we get back from them based upon our presentation, whether it's the water plan, whether it's what we get back from them, will be the current form. And so that current form, it will be based upon our presentation. What they've given us is an umbrella amount of money to use, to have, but the current form may be different than that. You know, it may fall under that $2 million based upon if they do any trimming off the 1956 rights. So the key word there is current form, and the current form that we present to the state engineer's office may be different than what we get back. And so their NMED is trying to accommodate that by using the word current form.
Thank you.
Ron, this is Councilor Murray.
Yes.
So maybe this is a question for the attorney. So would it be appropriate, or do we need an amendment to establish a cover letter explaining the intent of what this loan is for?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Murray, I don't believe that would be warranted or advisable. I think what the village administrator just said is essentially what this language means. And, you know, we could write pages of description, but it's going to come down to what the state engineer and NMED allow us to move forward with.
So you would advise against the letter of a cover letter?
Yes.
Can I make a statement here? You know, I feel as though,
Yes, you can.
thank you, just that, you know, you would never sign your name to something where it doesn't say what you're buying it for. You know what I'm saying? I understand where you're coming from as far as forms that the government, but as counselors, this is on our back. As far as, well, you asked for $2 million, but it never said what it was for. And what if, you know, down the line, it's used for something else?
You can't. It has to be used for a water system.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say that in this.
I
I mean, we know it is. We know that's what it's going for.
I
And as
think it does say water system.
It does say water system in the language of the actual ordinance.
The ordinance does.
Yeah,
And the key
but it
thing,
doesn't say water rights.
another key
It
thing to
does not
remember,
say water
Counselor
rights.
Knight, is that
Where does it?
there will be no money from the loan. There'll be no loan given to us or no loan monies paid for this until we determine the exact amount the amount of acres that the village will be purchasing. And that final number, before there's any money exchange hand, will come back to the council.
Signing this does not really mean we're getting the money. It means that we have been approved to get the money at a later date. That's all this is. This is signing the thing saying we've done all the paperwork, we jumped through the hoops. And so now they're saying, okay, sign this and we'll approve the money to be paid back when you get the money to be paid back with the GRT. We're not getting any money. This is not money. You're not going on the hook for any money.
the village isn't going on the hook for any money?
Not with this. This is an ordinance saying we plan. It's like if you go to a bank and you want to get a mortgage for a house and you get approval for the mortgage and you sign all their paperwork and they say, okay, you're approved.
Later you get.
And then later you go in and say, okay, I need whatever you need.
Okay. And again, everybody is the understanding it's for the water rights.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's for water. That's our goal. If we can get them. John.
Thank you, Mayor. Melanie, can you point me to where it says water systems? Because I just couldn't find it, didn't
So
read it.
It's in the beginning on page, so this is page 46 of your packet. It says, it talks about the borrower has a water system. And then on page, 49. It says the system shall continue to constitute a water system and shall be operated and maintained as such.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I see it.
Okay, let me say this. If you guys don't want to do this, then vote it down.
It's not that in my opinion, it's not that we don't want to do it, but I just want to make sure, again, when I was trying to read through this, not being a lawyer, it's difficult. And when I first read it, I was like, what is this saying? What is it? I was just kind of focusing on the first few pages about, getting the $2 million and looking at the interest, but it didn't. I'm good with that. I want the 230 acre feet of groundwater. I think it's the goal. But I just want to make sure that I understood what I was signing and how this works.
Okay.
And Councilor Burkett has a comment and question.
Yes, sir. Council Burkett.
Two thoughts. I think that the mayor's analogy to a pre-approval letter for this is fantastic. That's, in my mind, if we agreed to this, there are still multiple votes and multiple documents ahead before there's any actual money that's lent our direction and any projects funded. So I do think that we're not really committing to anything here other than we're saying we're looking for projects and we want to spend some money, and we're making sure that the money's available to do that. The second thought is, and I disagree a little bit with legal counsel, I think we should write a cover letter. This is just a publish the post. This is going to come up again at the next meeting. I think there should be a cover letter that's sole and separate from the actual document that spells out in a very short version what our intent is for this money currently. So it is, at least if somebody goes back to the minutes, linked to this conversation on paper, that this is what our thought process was on the time. And if we are not on this council, hopefully the people that are on this council will say, this is what they wanted to do with this money. This is what the money was for, and they can do whatever they want, but hopefully they will follow the intent of what the initial yes was for. It's not binding in any way, but I think it does both clarify for the next meeting what we're talking about, and hopefully paint a little bit of a picture for whoever's here when it's time to actually vote on getting the money and spending the money.
Okay. Anyone else?
Counselor
Counselor
Murray.
Alsobrook.
Look, typically when we do resolution to publish and post, and it cites the coming ordinance, it's pretty much how it's going to be, subject to amendments during subsequent meetings, right? Is this the form of the ordinance that's going to be presented? Because
this is what they sent us to.
Yeah, we can't make any further changes to it. They sent it to us and said, this is what you have to approve.
This is great. I mean, I'm being held up against the wall of an alleyway with my arm behind my back saying, if you want 2 million.
So
Then-
we can publish and post this, and we can ask for clarification and get more information from NMED, since there's so much discomfort among the counselors.
Just, yeah, I've never.
And if we can't get it changed, again,
All right.
you still have a vote. If you don't want to take the risk, take the chance that we get $2 million to buy water rights.
I would just hope that when we actually do publish and post, there's some bit of information in here that's more helpful to.
Well, we'll try
people
harder.
concerned.
We asked them.
When we publish the notification, it's just the title of the ordinance that gets published in the paper. And then the notice of publication says that the ordinance itself is available in the clerk's office for review. So residents are certainly
Council-
welcome to call my office, come in. I'm happy to answer questions.
Did Councilor Murray ask for?
He does have, I think he had his hand up.
Okay, Councilor
Yeah.
Murray.
I would support, I would move to amend that we post a cover letter with the intent of what this money is to be used for on the village website.
Ooh.
Is that a motion?
I'll
Yes.
second that.
That's what he
Um,
said.
Yeah, I'll second that. I don't think I mean, it can be a separate document from the actual document that we're signing, but I think it needs to be directly adjacent just for clarification.
The only place this is posted right now is in the public packet for this meeting. So the only place I could post it would be as a precursor to the ordinance when you adopt it in October.
Well, it
think
needs,
that's
we
reasonable.
need to have the cover letter at least on paper somewhere,
Okay,
and
we
we
can
can
do
put it in the water, and we can put it on the water.
I have a
page.
motion
I
and
mean,
second to a cover letter. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Is the reason why are you kind of hesitant about the cover letter is that somebody still might jump in and try to get the other one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why we're not being specific. Is that correct?
No, my lack of specificity has nothing to do with that, because this is what they sent us to sign or to pass. You know,
So, but there's still a chance that, there might be other municipalities hovering, and then when they found more about this, they could jump in and get it.
well, we do have a purchase letter that is binding as far as any piece of paper can be binding. I mean, what?
Anybody can still protest.
Yeah, anybody could protest, but we don't even know if we're going to get that far. We don't know how far it's going to go. We're just crossing our fingers and hoping that we have an opportunity to get that much in one shot.
Mayor, this is Councilor Murray again.
Sir, Councilman.
So my intent is that we do not have to be specific about the amount of water rights. We're just saying that this project will be put forth towards water rights for the village.
Sure.
And that's our intent, and not to be specific about whatever's been taking place with the engineer.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. Councilwoman was first. Councilwoman was first.
Mayor, I was not a math major, but if you look at the available water rights at 230 acre feet at $10,000 an acre, we're about $300,000 short.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with some more.
Okay.
We've said that from the beginning, but we could get this money flat, in $1 million increments
Oh, okay.
and at 1%.
Got it.
In fact, I think Tanya helped with that. Yes. And I asked her when she told me we got $1 million, I said, why didn't you get 2? Didn't I say that?
You did.
No, you don't have to answer that. I was just, I was being facetious. Sorry. Yes, sir, Councilor Muir.
Thank you, but after all this discussion, and I want to thank for point us to page 49, the system shall continue to constitute a water system and shall be operated and maintained as such. So that putting that in there, understand what it is that this system is all about. It's all about the water. So I mean, I think we're there.
I'm good.
Go ahead.
Last question.
You're sure now?
No, but
Yeah.
I'm making that threat. Does ownership of water rights constitute a water system?
Absolutely.
All right, then. Thank you.
Okay, so we need to vote on the
We're voting on the
amendment. or the-
amendment.
the,
No, we had
Cover letter. We haven't voted on the cover letter.
We have to cover letter.
Yeah.
First is a cover letter. Was that seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion was made by Counselor Murray, seconded by Counselor Burton.
May I clarify? I'm not hesitant about a cover letter. I think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
To use the analogy again of the approval of mortgage approval, that doesn't constitute actually borrowing the money. So if you get the mortgage approval from the bank, but you want to write something to your spouse that says, well, this is what the mortgage funds will be used for. At best, it's meaningless. At worst, the bank is going to say, wait a minute, if you intend that to have some legal significance, that's not what we would consider in our loaning of this money.
Sorry, I said that.
So I think it's a bad idea. I mean, I think it's a good idea that people know that it's intended for water rights, but again, these are NMED's documents.
I gotta send it to NMED.
I know, but so again, to the extent that it has any legal significance, NMED may have a problem with it. To the extent that it has no legal significance, what's the purpose of it?
It's an
Mayor,
interim.
this Councilor
Wait, sir.
then.
Go ahead, Stuart.
Well, okay, if that's the case, would this video of this discussion be sufficient enough?
Yes.
No,
Would you like me to specify in the minutes that this is, a discussion was held to clarify that this loan is going to be for purchase of water rights?
That would make sense to me, then I would withdraw my amendment.
Yep. Yeah, I think 4 settles it. Section 4.
Thank you, Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Councilor Murray.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on the original resolution, number 25-38. How do you vote, Councilor Brooke?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Aye.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Burkett?
Yep.
Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Mayor votes yes too, although I can't. All right, so now our village administrator is going to give an update and discussion of the site development plan for the Gonzalez property.
Yours.
Mr. Curry.
So we'll be heading to the planning and zoning with a site development plan that's being worked on by our engineer, Mr. Grolman. And it's fairly simple what we've talked about over the past years, in that we see the Gonzalez property as open space. And we visualize, and we're talking now, we own only the front portion on this side of the ditch, as we all know. And we see it as open space. There's also some farmland security on there, farmland preservation on there that we have pretty restricted use of as to what goes there and what doesn't go there. So we see it as open space and with a trail around it, where people walking on it with their horses, with their kids, what have you. And we also see putting in bathrooms just to the north of, just to the west of the bank. And we have received a grant for that. And the bathroom we visualize will be a good bathroom, or a series of bathrooms, and it will be stuccoed. So to look like all the other buildings in the village, so that it's not, won't be porta potties. And we feel that will serve both La Entrada Park and anything that goes on the Gonzalez property. So our plan, our thought would be that if anything were to change going forward in the negotiations that we've had with the Gonzalez family throughout the years on all their properties, they've asked what we would do with it immediately. And we've said, leave it the same. And that's just been part of the negotiations. There's nothing binding on that, but it's been the thought of the administration that leaving it the same as it is right now is the best way to go, with the addition of the bathrooms. And if some future administration or future council wants to do something else with it as times change, then that opportunity is there. We feel that if we were to put something up now, based upon what we've told the Gonzalez family, and also based upon what is there as far as the farmland preservation, it would be not keeping the word that we've had both with farmland preservation and with the Gonzalez family. So we see it as open space with a bathroom that would serve both La Entrada Park and the Gonzalez property, with a trailway around it so that people can walk on it.
And that's what your site plan will encompass.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So are we looking at doing the Gonzalez property before the Anderson property?
Actually, we're trying to get them both done at the same time. I don't remember the dates, Lori. Is she still here?
Yes.
Were we going to try to do them both at the same time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do away with the lot lines between the properties so that they're all one contiguous property, like the old Gonzalez farm, the old bank, the park, and then over to the rec center. It'll be the Anderson property, what was known as the Anderson property, the Jones property, the public works, the parks and rec, all one big confluence of properties. And as time goes by, and if we can work with DOT and get something done about the shoulder and do the quote shoulder enhancement that we've talked about, then perhaps people can park their car at the Gonzalez property in a parking lot, get out, go for a picnic, go for a walk, fly a kite, go to the growers market, whatever they want to do. I mean, it would keep them in a centralized area and keep the cost relatively simple. And then after a couple of years, and that's how long a site development plan lasts anyway, is 2 years. After a couple of years, if there's a change in attitude about what we would like to see, then we can change the site development plan, make additions, whatever. If you don't do something on the property for a couple of years, you have to do the site development plan. We found that out with some of the fire station work up there at the substation in the far northwest sector. If it's not done for a while, you have to go back and rehash it. And Anthony had to do that just recently with his training facility. So, all those things taken in consideration, this was, we thought, the best way to approach it. Keep it simple, keep it relatively inexpensive, and keep it open. And these are things that people ask for. open space, pathways, bathrooms, parking lot. So
Most importantly, I think it goes along with what we voted for here sometime back. It says we want them to work with one another and they were not going to be independent.
no, we will hope that they will be a confluence, and we have now Amy Bell did put together a plan to try to address some of those issues, and we have an issue in getting from one group of properties to another group of properties, and that's DOT. And that's why we're hoping to be able to work with them. And maybe we can actually do the pedestrian access route, perhaps.
Councilor Burkett has a question or a
Councilor
comment.
Burkett, please ask your.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. My question is just to kind of walk us through the thought process and the philosophy of consolidating these multiple lots into single lots in the groups. In my mind, it seems like it gives us more flexibility in the future to have them stay as the individual lots that they are and have them kind of function as a broader network of lots, but we would have more flexibility in the future if they were independent lots, the old bank being one, La Entrada being one, and the property being one. So I'm just curious what the rationale would be for consolidating them into a single legal lot.
Lori will respond to that.
Thank you. One of the advantages of having one large lot is you don't have setback issues. So you can put items wherever you want without having to worry about, oh, shoot, now it's got to be X number of feet from this lot line or that lot line. It gives you more flexibility to do what you want as a whole.
And also if we want to expand lot and try to park, we'd be nice to have that be all on one plat.
Which is one of the plans.
And like electricity, right? The same thing, we have to build another electricity with a line, as you could have it all in one, or whatever that might be, sanitation, whatever that might be.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you so much for being here.
Councilor Murray has a
Councilor
comment or
Murray?
question.
Yes, Lori, step back up.
Maybe
So-
you 1,000 steps today.
Yes. All right. So if I understand right, you're just going to consolidate the lot lines on La Entrada Park, the Gonzalez property. Is that correct?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
And right. So the village owned properties that are contiguous, it's an easy summary plat. You vacate lot lines and you create one large parcel like we've done with Village Hall. It's one, the courthouse, P and Z, admin, police, it's all in one parcel.
Okay, then the bathrooms would be just where, just north of the playground, is that correct?
We'd actually be on the east side of the playground, between the playground and the old bank.
Okay.
So
Is there an
bank would be
easement then from the old bank that we have to maintain for the drive around?
Just on the.
I don't think you're planning on putting it on the drive, the old, when you.
No. We're putting it where apparently the leach field is somewhere near there. And we're putting it where that mulberry tree was. Remember the mulberry tree that was split and we had to take it down?
Well, this is the problem I have right now because we don't have a drawing to work off and we're not really
Telling you
visualizing.
Drawing, Stuart. We're telling you what we're planning on doing, and
All right.
to give you an update because it has come up a couple of times. And so
Okay.
we're trying to do.
Okay. The other thing I might suggest though, when you do get to P and Z, that concrete barrier between the old bank and the building just south there,
Yes.
it provides, or it inhibits people from getting to the gate on the east side of the park. Because when I parked there last couple of weeks ago, and I had to walk over the top of that. And if somebody was ADA and parked in the parking lot there at the old bank, they couldn't get into the park.
The
So
gate?
I'm sorry. Yeah, the east gate is on private property.
The gate's going to be moved.
It's going to be moved.
We already
Oh, see?
already talked
See
about
that? See that? You haven't indicated that. So that's another
Sorry.
little thing that we need to know about too.
Yes.
So if it's just consolidation into a single property, I don't have a problem with that. but let's go no further than that. And also, I was just unaware that you're going to do the same thing with the Anderson property. We should have probably had that discussion too, but now it's come up, but it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Well, we'll get those drawings and we'll get the site development plans done and this is not for public comment this time. Isn't that what we decided?
Yes.
This was a discussion
Yeah.
among the council.
We don't typically allow public comment on a discussion item for council.
Yeah, that was, and don't about that.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Yeah. Okay. Future agenda items, presentation from UNM students regarding local pollinators on September 23rd. And this is thanks to Sky DeVivi. We found these people and they're going to come talk to us about.
It's her son that will be coming and presenting for us. And they are also going to bring some specimens that they're going to have in the lobby before the meeting for us to take a look at.
So these are going to be some of the newer, some of those new bees we keep hearing about.
Could be. And we're also going to do a proclamation in support of pollinators and pollinator
Okay, you
people
didn't have
who
that on here.
I didn't put it on here, but yeah, we'll have a proclamation in support of pollinators.
All right. Also, thanks to John Alsobrook, we'll have a presentation from Bill Bedell, Executive Director of Greater Albuquerque Habitat for Humanity on October 14th. And then we'll do approval of ordinance 2504, authorizing the village to enter into a loan agreement with NMED on 10/14 with a cover letter. Correct?
Yes, I will put,
No,
oh, no, we just,
we're gonna do the video.
I'm going to specify in the minutes that this loan is for water rights.
Okay. No cover letter.
No cover letter.
Okay, anybody have anything else they want to bring up for a future meeting? Okay, sure. Stuart, Zach, anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, dinner.
Oh, you don't want to bring it up.
Dinner down.
Down.
That's what you had.
Okay. All right. Well, since we finished the business session, this meeting is adjourned.
And council, if you'll please stay, we need you to sign the resolution to publish and post.
All right.